Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shruti Lahoti, and it is my pleasure to present in INREM on the topic of browsing through solutions to enhance the sustainability of traditional bioproduction systems in East Asia and Southeast Asia. I am an IGS Research Fellow, and my background is landscape and urban planning, while my PhD is in sustainability science from United Nations University, Japan. Saito Sensei has already explained about the ITMOP project. And in this presentation, I'm going to talk about one of the objectives of ITMOP project, which is mainly looking at the current efforts made by existing networks by scanning through the solutions. Very briefly, I want to start with challenges and threats faced by bioproduction landscapes, how solution scanning can be an effective approach to understand the ongoing efforts made by various networks. We'll also discuss about some of the ways through which we are collecting the data of various cases within these three countries and some of the very preliminary results from the analysis. As this research is ongoing and it just started, we have very few preliminary results. To begin with, communities across Asia are facing unprecedented threats to traditional natural resource-based livelihood, loss of biodiversity, and loss of ecosystem services because of land use change. It is not only affecting the systems on which communities are dependent, but it is also affecting the livelihoods of the people who are living there. This has raised a very big question over the relevance of traditional land use systems as well as bioproduction systems. The identified drivers which influence these systems are mainly modern agriculture technologies, urbanization, rapid industrialization, overexploitation, and underutilization. The modern agriculture technologies changes the balance of species in some ecosystems. Urban sprawl, it changes the consumer demand and drives shifts in ecosystem consumptions, loss of agrobiodiversity, and the services provided by humans across communities. Rapid industrialization, everyone knows, there's loss of rural bioproduction systems and overexploitation, which is, it causes increase in population pressure and multiple demands by actors at different levels. Underutilization is a case very relevant in Japan, where aging population and abandonment is a big issue or concern. These threats and drivers have accelerated the rate of loss of biodiversity and ecosystem services across Asia, which is not only threatening the livelihoods and the food security, but it is also reshaping the overall dynamics of diverse and complex social ecological systems by changing water availability, the quality of water, crop productivity, beach health, nutrition, and many other aspects, which indirectly affects the well-being of local people. Several approaches are already in place for sustainable use and management of these production landscape, like EPBS, which are putting communities at centers to arrive at solutions with integrated management approach where they are involving local people and local residents. Communities across Asia are also working to re-establish the relevance of traditional bioproduction systems in response to the current challenges faced by the local people through local traditional knowledge. This extensive work of local knowledge, local efforts can also support the scientific solution, and hence with this in context, it is very much important to understand the current state of knowledge, the solutions for solving the challenges for sustainable use and management of these natural resources to better inform the existing suite of conservation and restoration solution in the scientific literature, which mainly involves or includes the experiences of local actors, and this could be really beneficial. The focus of international efforts is towards solutions that can account for multiple sustainability challenges. Accordingly, multi-level networks have sprung up at different socio-ecological scales and systems, where collaborative work is ongoing to seek solutions to the current challenges. Among them, the two very active networks are IPSI and GIS. IPSI is formed to strengthen the SELB's activities, mainly advancing the global Satoyama initiative and advocate mainstreaming of socio-ecological production landscapes and seascapes in policy process, while GI sites are diverse and locally adapted agriculture systems. Traditional agriculture systems that can sustain livelihood, promote food security, conserve in situ agrobiodiversity, protect unique and vulnerable landscape, and preserve traditional knowledge and cultural heritage of the farming communities. We also have several GIS sites in Philippines and in Japan, Indonesia as well. Both this IPSI and GIS network shares experience-based knowledge on integrated approach. We have considered case studies of these two networks for solution scanning exercise. But as this is at initial stage, the project is at initial state, we might elaborate on by adding more cases. So this is an ongoing process. So the results are based on few of the cases selected from GIS and the IPSI sites. So on slide 4, we see what is solution scanning. Structured stepwise methodology to identify a long list of actions, interventions, or approaches that responds to a broad challenge is solution scanning. This is already used in environmental and sustainability research literature to identify solutions for maintaining ecosystem services, agroforestry-based solutions for climate mitigation and adaptation, and also scanning of existing food networks models as solution types in cultural landscapes in Europe and Asia. Solution-oriented science can actually address multiple threats because these solutions are based on societal values which view services differently than the science. There are various networks, as mentioned, who are working with societal actors to arrive at solutions. And this kind of knowledge is excluded from the scientific assessment. Hence, it is very much beneficial because this knowledge is based on informed and socially relevant knowledge. They are based on experimentation and consolidation. And hence, solution scanning incorporates integration and co-production of knowledge, which can actually help in uncovering policy gaps and arriving at solutions which are very practical. So it actually can help in decision making. Stage 1 or step 1 is horizon scan, which is mainly the problem we choose to focus on, and it is mainly identified by societal actors. In this case, we chose IPSI network and GIS, which has selected loss of biodiversity and ecosystems as their main area of problem. The network shared place-based solutions to this problem over the past decade. In step 2, we selected case studies from all publicly available IPSI member cases and GIS up to March 2018, but we are still it's an ongoing process, so we are still adding some more cases from the current data set. 4 primary sources have been used, which is mainly hosted by IPSI and GIS, and we have decided the set of categorical variables which we have collected all in the Microsoft Excel file. There is also a data collection instrument which was created. It has been discussed and refined through consultation and pre-testing. Data definition has been defined and the collection guide was prepared to inform data collection as various people are involved in data collection, and we have included various variables with their range values, their definitions, and the collection instructions. In step 3, which is filtering process, a framework is applied to filter the solutions by types. And for as of now, we have used a Millennium Ecosystem Assessment Framework to understand which type of solutions or societal actors might prioritize in different socio-ecological contexts. But again, we are planning to integrate or consider another framework as well in the filtering process. The data was collected mainly in Excel sheet with already defined definitions how to insert the value. And the type of data includes case study information, the publication year, the location, scale, institutional author, also socioeconomic and biophysical information like which are the sectors which are active in the study area, who are the stakeholders involved, institutions, livelihoods, and so on. Also the program information, what are their goals, what are the institution and legal environment of that particular case study area, what are the solutions. Solutions are mainly of 5 type of solutions which are further categorized into 25 subcategories based on the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment Framework. Just for example, on slide 7, we have shown what kind of solutions we have recorded under the policy response type. As mentioned, we have considered Millennium Ecosystem Assessment Framework, under which there were five categories: institutional and governance responses, economic and incentive-based responses, and so on. And there were also 25 subcategories which has been considered. In the Excel file, the definition of each and every solution type and subtype has been given. Like for example, economic and incentive-based solutions are solutions that address market failures and misalignment through market-based approaches. And the subcategories are taxes and user fees, subsidies, improved value chains, livelihoods, and so on. And These categories definitions are also provided. So what comes under taxes and user fees is resource taxes or ecotourism fees. What are subsidies? That is payment for ecosystem services or technology subsidies, and so on. On slide 8, some of the categorical variables which are considered during the data collection has been shown. Like for example, ecosystem classification. In the case studies were recorded according to the 10 classifications of Millennium Ecosystem Assessment. Up to 4 ecosystems per case study has been recorded to understand the overall mosaic of the overall mosaic or characteristics of that particular case study area. And then, for example, we have also recorded the stakeholders involved, which are further. So there are, I think, 16 or 17, which are further subdivided into whether they are research based or non-governmental or community or public sector based. From slide 9, we begin with some of the preliminary results of the analysis. Although the data collection process is still ongoing and we might implement some other frameworks for solution scanning, as I've already mentioned, and as per the project requirement, I have compiled some preliminary results of the data compiled so far. So as of now, the total cases considered are 39 overall. In Japan, I think we have 28 case studies, in Philippines 5, and Indonesia 6. And so total solutions regarded for these case studies are 239. For these cases, the administrative scale of the studies varies in sub-region. In Japan, most of the studies are regional based, while in Philippines we see that it is district and municipalities, while in Indonesia it is mainly village based. So as I mentioned that we have also defined these values. So what is region? We have defined it in the guiding document. So if the case study was conducted in a group of district or municipality, we defined it as it's a region. When it is conducted in a group of wards, it is defined as a district or municipality, while villages refers to the group of communities with defined geographical areas. So this is how every definition has been defined in the data collection guide so as to help understand and categorize the variables appropriately in the Excel file. Slide 10 shows sectors and ecosystems. Sectors actually represent the activities which are implemented in the study site. For each study, maximum of 5 sectors were selected from the predefined values, and the predefined values were derived from the Millennium Ecosystem Framework. So out of 15 sectors, only 4 sectors were not represented at all. Those are health, nutrition, gender, and transport, while agriculture is the most prominent sector identified in the study areas, followed by business. So again, what is agriculture? Agriculture includes crop farming, livestock raising, aquaculture, agroforestry, and other related fields. While business, if the case study includes enterprise development, small or medium scale, whatever, income generating activities like agrotourism, tourism is all considered under business. And then followed by this is forest, water, and governance sector. Next to this is Millennium Ecosystem. This bar chart actually shows the focal ecosystems of the case studies as classified and described in MEA. So there are 10 values. But 3 ecosystems are not represented in the selected study size so far. That is marine, dryland, and polar region. But overall, there is high representation of cultivated land or agriculture, which is dominated by domesticated plant species used for and sustainability changed by crop, agroforestry, and aquaculture production. This is followed by forest and then mountain and so on. On slide 11, we see the solutions, the policy response time. So out of 39 cases, we registered 239 solutions are identified, and they are then categorized into 5 solution subcategories, which we discussed as institution and governments, economic, and incentives. So we see overall there is a mix of different solution types. There is not much difference. We see 23, 17, 21, but overall the highest share was of institutional and governance solutions, followed by actually this in the slide, this is the wrong information, followed by socio-cultural and behavior, and knowledge and cognitive solutions. In the next slide, slide 12 shows the regional variation in policy response type among Japan, Philippines, and Indonesia, and it doesn't vary much. Again, institutional and governments is most preferred solution, in which actually awareness creation and integrated management approach are higher selected subcategories. But overall, we see that in Indonesia, we don't see much of economic and incentive-based solutions. While following the institution and governments, the second most important is socio-culture and behavior, and knowledge and cognitive-based solutions. Technological solutions are more preferred in Japan, which mainly includes ecological restoration or conservation practices, while in Indonesia, we mainly see agroecological practices. On slide 13, we see the subcategory of solution types. Although the categories among the region do not vary much, but when we look at the subcategories of solution type, we see a lot of variation in terms of approach taken by the sub-regions. For example, in Japan, the highest preferred solution type is awareness creation, and followed by ecological restoration and conservation practices and integrated management approach. While in Philippines, the highest preferred approach is cultural practices, and in Indonesia, it is mainly agroecological practices. Within one solution type also, if you see, the approach of different region is different. For technological solutions in Japan, the most preferred one is ecological restoration. For Philippines, it is again ecological restoration and conservation, but Indonesia preferred to go for agroecological practices. In knowledge and cognitive type of solutions as well, we see that in South Asia, local communities are involved in capacity building, monitoring and evaluation system, and bringing knowledge forms from communities and science. So in Philippines, local ecological knowledge of ethnic groups is included in practical learning experience, for example, through farmers' field schools. And this also helps in bridging the local knowledge systems with new technical developments. If we look at economic and incentive based, in that in market access solutions, in Japan we see there are a lot of efforts made by government to revitalize the local business, while in Philippines and Indonesia we do not see such kind of efforts made by the local government. Slide 14 shows about the stakeholder engagement. In most of the study cases, communities are working with societal actors at multiple levels, and it is reflected through stakeholder involvement. There are 20 types of stakeholders which are considered. Their definitions has been recorded, and they have been broadly divided into four groups, like the community or public sector or research. And the involvement varies. In Japan, out of 20, 16 stakeholders are found, while in sub-region the composition varies, and it is different depending upon the socio-political context of that particular country. Like in Philippines and Indonesia, we don't see much of public sector involvement, while we see a lot of non-government governmental activities or sectors involvement as such. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. As this is an ongoing work, I look forward for your suggestions and fruitful discussion. Thank you very much.